What's up, everybody? This is Sam Spade, lead singer, bass player of the Midnight Devils, and I am here on Heavy Magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is melting before your eyes. The world is changing as you know it. We are about to embark on the Bop and the Wallaby 2024 tour, touching down in Australia, 3 weeks, and then we're heading over to Japan to make our debut. Ladies and gentlemen, can you even believe this? The Midnight Devils in Australia, then taking over Japan. We got a new record coming out on July 2nd, So Hard It Hurts, and I hope you stayed hard this entire time waiting for this brand new release. I'm throwing it to Crispy. It's time to get this thing started.
I've got nothing, mate. How the hell do you just, off the bat, just come out with that shit unscripted? That is sensational.
It's many years of working at a strip club. That's what it is. That's the key. Many years as a strip club DJ, you got to have a lot of lines.
Fair enough. So thanks for joining us today, mate. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
Yes, it's great being here. It really is. And the excitement is just, this is my other line. The excitement is really high, and so am I.
Cool. All right. So we have got a bit to get through here, mate, but we haven't got hours to do it. So we'll crack straight into album number 3. So the Midnight Devils return with album number 3, So Hard It Hurts, on July the 2nd. Like, how you feeling about it, bro? You nervous? You excited? You anxious? You don't give a fuck?
All of those things. All of those things are exactly what I'm feeling. At this moment, sitting here right now, I'm excited because I think we've done the majority of the hard work, and we're ready. We're anticipating the release now, and the response from our fans, from all the maniacs worldwide, has just been overwhelming. Our pre-sales have been great, and to go correspond with this release, we're jumping on this big tour supporting Bomb But Not Forgotten in Australia. It's our second time coming back to Australia in a year almost, you know. And then following that is Japan, following that is the UK, and then Norway. So there's just like this world tour on the back of the release of this record. So to say excitement is high, the pressure also very high. But I think that we're there, and I think we have a quality record that people are just gonna. It's gonna be the party soundtrack of the summer or winter, I guess, in July. In Australia, it's winter. So.
Yeah, you've actually just given me a bone to pick with you, mate. I didn't know you were going to the UK and Norway as well. How come you're dumping me back in Australia on the way through?
Maybe we're not.
Ah.
Maybe you're just coming with.
I should pack extra clothes then.
Well, we have 3 weeks off. So when we land back from Japan, we have 3 weeks off, and then we'll head over to the UK, supporting Kicking Valentine over there, which we just left. We left the UK in September, I believe, with Pretty Boy Floyd. So it's another kind of return visit. And the rock and roll is great over there. So there's no reason we wouldn't.
How good are Kicking Valentino? They're a great band.
They're awesome. They've been doing it for forever. And they've been really, they stuck to their guns and flew that flag of East Coast USA glam sleaze metal. That's just so brilliant. And they never deviated. And they wrote that blueprint on just keep working and releasing records and touring and just do it.
Yeah, I'll actually tell you an interesting story about them. Like when I was in Japan on probably about 2 tours ago, I was looking through Tower Records, like the big record store there, and there wasn't that many like non-Japanese bands albums on display, except for the big ones like Metallica and stuff like that. But one of the bands that was on display was Kicking Valentina, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of them, and I had to listen to them then in Japan, and that's how I got into those guys. So
yeah, and they're the nicest dudes. We're super excited to play with them, to support them, because they've been doing it for maybe 5-10 years longer than we have. So we're kind of like the kid brothers, joining our older brothers on tour. Show them how it's done a little bit. Breathe a little life.
But enough about them, because this is about you. Like, tell us about So Hard It Hurts from a musical point of view, and what you were going for with the album.
With this album, we took what we had learned from 2022's Never Beg For It. We did that with Chips Enough in Chicago, and we learned so much on that record on how to take that next step from our first record to our second record. Cool. With that, we wanted to expand on it and really give it the production that it needed and really write great songs. So with this album, we were on tour in Italy. Our tour manager in Italy is a guy by the name of Fabio. He goes, I love you guys. The Midnight Devils are incredible, but your albums don't match your live show. And I go, you're totally right. We've been having trouble with that. And he said, he goes, I got a guy. He did the first Poison record, and he's gonna be perfect for you guys. And he calls up Rick right there. So we're in Torino, you know, sitting in Torino, about ready to play. He calls up Rick. He's like, Rick, I got these guys from the US here in Italy. Would you like to produce their records? And Rick's like, yep, I'll come out of retirement for it. And that was it. And it was like, okay, we got a producer now. We got a record. We got to get some songs together. And it was really, going into it, I knew that we had to write really good, catchy songs, and that there couldn't be any mistakes or any falters or any lack of energy on these.
On the subject of your first two albums, Something Bigger and Never Beg for It, like, you're talking about the production style of things improving over the albums, but how about musically? Like, what have you learnt and grown musically with over the course of 3 albums?
It's a very good question, and I think what we learned is to keep, musically, sonically, is to keep it simple. Keep it as simple as you possibly can. As a musician, as an artist, you tend to keep adding and adding and adding until it gets too blown out. The songs are too long. Okay, with this one, we're going to try and keep all the songs relatively shorter, 3.5 minutes. But with this one specifically, Rick and Cher Ross from Vixen, Bam from Dogs to More, our production team really put a focus on writing lyrics and songs that tell a story and that people can relate to. So with this one, I had my lyrics, and then they go, these are great, but these aren't so great. So let's make these into a story and tell, each song has a start, a middle, and an end. And you resolve the story at the end of the song. I go, cool, I never thought of it like that. That's a really good way. So I think we really picked up that, like, let's keep everything as simple as we can and write really great songs that people can relate to.
Yeah, very cool. Now, just say somebody stumbled upon this interview and it's the first time they've heard of the Midnight Devils, and they think the guy in makeup's cute, the board guy's cute, and they want to check out more of your stuff. Like, give us 3 songs off your first 2 albums that'll prepare them to listen to the new one.
3 songs each?
No, 3 songs off both. Let's say off.
Okay.
3 that are just preparing to listen to So Hard It Hurts.
Yeah, and we're coming up to this point in the band's career where we have 3 albums out now. So picking a set list gets a little tricky. You know, we got to pick songs from all 3 records. So from the first record, I think that the album's called Something Bigger. It was released 2018. We did it in Omaha, but the title track, Midnight Devils, still played in our set list today. That song is just essentially, it's our call to arms, and it's our call to arms for us and the fans. I think that song really does it. The other one, Memphis Mile, is one of our crowd favorite. We've been ending the sets with them because it's such a party anthem, and because it just takes the show to another level. And so when you're crafting a show, you always think, like, there's a start to the show, and you come out blazing, and you're on that roller coaster ride going up, and the very, very tip top is Memphis Mile. And that's where the energy, the excitement, everybody's as drunk as they could possibly be. We smoked 1 million joints, and now we're all feeling good and we're shaking ass. That's what Memphis Mile is. The other one that I love from that record that surprised the hell out of me was Highway 69, but that's from Never Beg for It. And that song, I didn't love it when we started, and now it's like an instant, we have to play it. People have Highway 69 tattoos on their arms, you know. It's taken on a whole life of its own.
Yeah. Tell me, why didn't you like it at first?
I just didn't think it was catchy enough.
Yeah, right.
And when it came out and I saw the response, I was like, whoa, I was completely wrong. You know, and that was like a Sniper thing. He kind of had the idea for the music, and I put the lyrics down, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. Little did I know that it'd be one of our favorite tracks. Everybody loves it. And the video came out, an animated video that tells the story of more of the Midnight Devils in this kind of world that we've created with these other characters, the Pink Bastard, Roxanne, all these other people that kind of jump into this story and weave their way around our world.
Yeah, very cool. Now, I've got to know, and I'm sure other people out there need to know as well, mate, like, So Hard It Hurts. Where does it come from? Is there a good story behind that?
Yes, there's a million good stories, and that's kind of what we did with this record, is try to take our experiences and our stories that we had while being on tour, being on the road, and put them into a record. So it's real life. It really happened to us. With So Hard It Hurts, the one story that I always go back to, and I'm probably gonna have to tell this story like 100 million times, but Jimmy called me up one day and he goes, bro, you're never gonna believe what happened. My roommate accidentally, I don't know if he accidentally, but he took a Viagra pill or two. I like two, and he goes like he got a hard on that didn't go away. And so they had to like take him to the hospital, you know, to, I don't know, have the doctors look at it. And he was walking all hunched over. And Jimmy's like, he kept saying it's so hard it hurts. I was like, that's brilliant right there. That's it. How do we know? That's going to be the Midnight Devils album.
Perfect. Now I didn't have this one written down for you, mate, but I'll just sort of come up with it on the fly. But you like the style of music you play, like the glam rock style, like it's very familiar to a lot of people, you know. But you've got the big ones, like you've got your Motley Crues and your Poison that people always relate to. But as a band coming into it, like how fine of a line is it between imitation and inspiration when you write new music, and where do you draw that line?
Absolutely. The very, very good question, because we didn't set out to be an 80s hair metal band, and that's not what we are.
Right.
We're a glam rock band. And we draw from our influences, which were 80s hair metal, but it was also the 70s glam, and you know, it was the 90s glam and this bubble gum and punk rock. And so what we kind of do is we don't want to recreate Van Halen or Kiss or the Ramones or anything like that. We want to do our own thing, but use that influence. And we spent so much time listening to those bands that you can almost do it in your sleep and think of, what do we want to say? How do we want to be creative? How are we going to push this and be a positive influence to the world? How are we going to just be like, we're the Midnight Devils. We're going to do what we want to do, no matter what you say. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it our way, and we're never going to stop. And it's that kind of gang mentality between us and the fans that I think pushes us over and makes us different from a lot of bands.
Yeah, very cool. Now, the Midnight Devils have got a well-earned reputation as a good time, high-energy rock and roll party band live. So how difficult is it to recreate and capture that intensity, I guess, live in the studio?
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like it really is, like, because you are, as a live musician, you are flying off that adrenaline and that crowd interaction. And that's the hardest part to recreate, because you just can't. So in the studio, I think my trick is, like, Sniper does everything, and he really leads the band musically, sonically. He's the guy that kind of calls the shots. And so when we're sitting there, all three of us staring at each other, we play it exactly like we would play it live. And then we hit the record button. So we kind of fudge it a little bit with using our own adrenaline and our own, like, between the three of us, we use that energy to kind of recreate what a live feeling would be. And then when we go in and do the vocals and stuff, I mean, I had my shirt off. I was going as hard as I could possibly go in the vocal booth, just for like 8 or 9 hours, just to kind of keep up that feeling, like, hey, we're on the stage in front of people. We just got to keep going.
Yeah. Does it go as far as, like, you and Jimmy put your makeup on in the studio as well to sort of try and put yourself in the zone?
No, we didn't do that, but I mean, essentially we always wear we've been blessed to be in a band where we can kind of get away with wearing whatever we want. And so what it's put into what we did, here's the kicker, is we got ourselves out of our comfort zone and went down to Florida to do this record at Bam and Cher's house. Now, these are people that we respect highly, you know, like, they're rock stars in our eyes.
Yeah.
So you don't want to give them anything less than amazing, because they'll tell you, and I don't want Dad to yell at me. I don't want, like, you smoke a joint and you're like, they'll be like, are you high? Are you recording high? I'm like, I'm sorry. So it's like, you don't want to disappoint your dad, so you always want really, really hard.
Work so hard it hurts. So speaking of playing live, the Midnight Devils are returning to Australia in July for a run of dates with the mighty Bomb But Not Forgotten, starting in Perth on July the 5th, then visit Sydney, Melbourne over successive weekends, mate. Like, I know we got your own tour to talk about too, but we'll start on this one. Like, that should be a lot of fun. It's 50th anniversary of Bon Scott's death, I believe, and it's going to be a great tour.
I got good stuff to talk about here. I'm glad you brought this up. So, not knowing Bon Scott last year when we opened for them, or we went and saw them, and I was like, yeah, I've seen a million AC/DC tribute bands. Like, unless they're really good, like, I'm not interested. And so we walk into the venue, and there's 500 people there going ballistic. Crispy, you were there, you saw it. Like, I was like, this is awesome. And Skinny, what a front man, like he kills. And so I'm like, okay, we got our work cut out for us. And then you got us the opening gig the next night, and I was like, okay, I know what Skinny can do. I got to bring the A game. I really bring the heat. And I thought we did. I thought we had a great show that next night. Fast forward to we're playing M3 Festival 2 months ago. This Australian dude comes up to me and starts giving me shit, like hardcore. I go, hey man, we're going to be opening up for Bomb But Not Forgotten in Australia. And he's like, I'm best friends with Skinny. He's going to eat you alive. I go, tell him to bring it on. Like, I'm ready. You ain't going to talk to these USA boys. We're going to bring you the heat for sure. And he was like, oh, I'll call him right now. And he video chatted him right then. Skinny's waking up at 6 a.m. The dude's drunker as shit. Just like, you're going to tour with these guys and they're going to kick their asses. And I'm like, you better tell him to eat his Wheaties every morning, because it's like, this is going to be a dog fight every night. And I'm looking forward to it in the best possible way, because they're a great band. And we're also, once again, we're like the new guys coming up. So we got something to prove. We got a chip on our shoulder. So where I can make my exclusive heavy magazine call you out, Skinny, Bomb But Not Forgotten, Jason, make sure you guys got your shit together, because we're coming hard. So hard it hurts.
So hard it hurts. I fucking love it. And you've also got 3 headline shows of your own on Sunday, July 7th at the Paddo in Brisbane, Thursday, July the 11th at the Duke of Enmore in Sydney, Thursday, July 18th in Stay Gold in Melbourne. So are you saving something special for those shows, seeing they're your own?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of goes back to where we're writing a set list with 3 albums of material. When we have these opening spots, it's really cool. We get to do 45 minutes. It's no deviation. You go as hard as you can for 45 minutes. You play the songs. You don't do any slow songs, and you go. Now, with the headlining set, it kind of is a little different because we have a little more time. So we get to joke around more. We get to, I feel like the fans get to see more of our personality. And they get to laugh, and they really get to interact with us as a band. And so we get to add in new songs that we don't play very often. And that's a really cool thing. And as artists, you're like, okay, cool. I got to grow. Our set list is not the same. We don't even have a set list. We just call them out. And especially on a headlining show, I'm just calling out songs. They kind of know where I'm going, but for the most part, it's a mystery.
I was going to say, don't lie. You don't know where you're going. So how are they going to know where you're going?
No, I have an idea. If we get there, then that's the gold medal at the end.
Brad, speaking of gold medals,
if I don't break my own nose with my knees, right?
I still tell people that story, mate, and I still don't know how the fuck you did it.
I was like, I walk off stage, Carrie's sitting right here, and I know she's heard the story a million times. We're playing, and the show's going great. The show's incredible, and I do one last jump right at the end and smash my nose with my knee. And I thought I broke my nose in that instance. And I walk off stage and I tell you, I go, Crispy, I think I just broke my nose. But luckily there's makeup everywhere. You couldn't really tell. You're like, you're all right, mate. Get back out there.
Get up there, you soft cock. And then the icing on the cake for all of this, mate, is we're going to Japan for your very first tour of the Orient, mate. Like, that's exciting in itself. And we got a bit to get through before we even get there.
Yeah. And that's really, I thank you for all of this, because going into this, we talked many months ago, and we're like, what is the biggest goal of the Midnight Devils? And since we were kids, it was always, you join a band to tour the world, and going to live at Budokan, beats from all these great American bands or Western bands that would go to Japan and just flourish over there. That was always the goal. And you said, why not tack on Japan since you're already over here? I said, that's a brilliant idea. I couldn't think of a better way to reach that goal.
It's going to be sensational. So basically, mate, July is the month of the Midnight Devils. Your album comes out, your tour starts, you go to Japan. Like, every month's the Midnight Devils month, but let's officially make July the month of the Devils.
I love that. That's really good. All month long we celebrate. All month long we party. All month long we're hard.
I don't know what to say to that, except fuck yes.
July's gonna be a month.
All right, Sam. Well, thanks very much for joining us, mate. Always a pleasure. Album So Hard It Hurts out July the 2nd. We've got the tour in Australia kicking off July the 5th. We got Japan kicking off July the 22nd, I believe. So she's all happening. Where can people keep up to date with the Midnight Devils and what you're doing?
We're very active on all social media platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places you can reach us. Our music is available on all streaming platforms. So Amazon, Spotify, anything like that. Most importantly, though, if you dig the band, you like what we're doing, there's videos on YouTube, but go to our website, themidnightdevils.com, and there you can check out the new album. You can watch the videos, but you can also pre-order or order anything on our merch site, and that goes directly to supporting the tours. And it's really the only thing that keeps us going. So any order is very much appreciated, and that's really our bread and butter and our heart and soul right there.
I'm glad
from Nebraska with love.
I'm glad you brought that up, my friend, because for the Australian tour, you've actually got a special. If anyone pre-orders the album for that, they get a free meet and greet with the band before the show. Is that correct?
It's a free meet, MEAT.
So hard it hurts.
It's just all a big joke to you, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what we say all the time. It's like, no wonder nobody thinks we take this very seriously. It's all just a fucking big joke.
It is. But tell us about the special packages.
Yes. So you for the pre-sale packages?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we put together a pre-sale package is like the So Hard It Hurts album, and then brand new signed tour posters. They're not tour posters, but they're album posters done by our art designer Livy, and these are really cool. Livy did the artwork for the cover, and then we turned the cover into a t-shirt as well. So there's kind of like these 3 or 4 different packages, and one is all of our albums or all of our CDs signed by every one of the guys in the band. And so you can kind of just pick and choose what level is going to be best for you. Some people already have the other albums, so they don't need it. Yeah. But there's also a vinyl package, and there'll be more vinyl coming out. It's a really cool way to help us and to push this new record that's coming out. It's exciting, and the response has just been overwhelming. I can't even believe it. Like we're hitting our goals of what I wanted to accomplish with the pre-sale.